Good morning from Singapore. A very warm welcome to you. My name is Elliot Danker, and I will be your host and moderator of today's ASEAN Korea Global VC Conference. As you can see, it's a very different type of conference this year. It's a bit of a hybrid format where we've got a live studio in Singapore, and we'll be featuring lots of guests from around the region as well. The reason for that really is how COVID-19 has impacted us all. We've seen countries suffer, we've seen economies fall, economies suffer, and the one thing that we've learned throughout this 2020 journey is that regional cooperation among countries, that's so vital and important if we are going to get over this COVID-19 crisis that we are facing. Well, it's going to be a great conference today. We have panel discussions. We'll also see pitches from startups around the region, and we've got some lessons to learn from the year 2020 that will be shared with us throughout the course of the day. So we certainly hope that you will find the program that we have lined up for you fruitful and engaging. Well, we're going to start off the program by having a keynote address from Mr. JungHoon CHA. Now, he's the Deputy Minister of Startup and Venture Innovation Office at the Ministry of SMEs and Startups of the Republic of Korea. And he'll be delivering his keynote address live from Korea. Mr. CHA, please.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. This is very honored to deliver my keynote speaking to all of you. Distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen, I'm JungHoon CHA, the Deputy Minister of Startup and Venture Innovation Office at the Ministry of SME and Startup. I would like to convey my sincere congratulations on the opening of the Global VC Conference today. The Global VC Conference serves as a venue of communication where venture capital of Korea and ASEAN can exchange information and share opinion, and will be held as an annual event starting in Singapore this year. This conference is held on non-face-to-face due to COVID-19 this year, and I would like to express my gratitude to officials from both Korea and ASEAN for the effort you made to put together this event as safely in spite of challenges caused by the pandemic around the world. It is an honor and privilege for me to be with you as you start this meaningful event, which is put together with the participants by an effort by many. 2020 is a year of corona pandemic. The number of confirmed cases exceeded 60 million worldwide, and opportunities for exchange were taken away, which led to enormous socio-economic loss. Just as other countries, Korea has been making utmost effort to overcome COVID-19. At the forefront of such effort are the venture capital and innovative startups, which are present at the conference today. In the early days after the pandemic outbreak, innovative startup of Korea shared information in real time through the corona maps and the mask map, and so contributed to easing the public anxiety. Startup in biofield developed case diagnostic kit, which diagnosed the infection with the coronavirus quickly and accurately, which helped the Korea government to implement a swift quarantine measure. The diagnostic kit was supplied to more than 150 countries, contributing to efforts to overcome COVID-19 worldwide. In Korea, venture capital, which look for innovative startup, has been making active investment in startup despite the huge risk posed by COVID-19. Venture investment were rather slow until the first half of this year, but by then increased by 6% year-over-year, marking the successful rebound. As such, innovative startup and venture capital serve as a strong supporter of the Korean economy. We are now witnessing the huge wave of non-face-to-face and digitalization, and COVID-19 is accelerating the tide of the change to the greater size and speed. Over the past 8 months, we have already seen fundamental change in our lives. Non-face-to-face way of work, were used only supplementary in the past, but they have already become the integral part of our lives today, and it's very likely that they would soon replace the offline way of the work. The conversion to the online and the non-face-to-face triggered by COVID-19 will quickly accelerate the transformation into the digital economy. The Ministry of SME and Startup has the policy goal of great transition to the digital economy, smart Korea, and is the leading the transition to the digital economy in earnest. The first, innovative startup in non-face-to-face field whose growth potential are verified amid of a crisis of COVID-19 will be cultivated into next generation innovative company to lead Korea economies. Support will be provided to business startup and R&D by discovering the promising startup in non-face-to-face field, and the Smart Korea Fund will be raised to amount of $6 trillion, which is equivalent to $550 million by 2025, in order to provide funds supporting the growth of a company. The fund will be invested into non-face-to-face fields such as AI, cloud, biohealthcare, and data platforms as well. Also through the collaboration with global companies such as Google, Amazon, and large Korean company, we strive to discover and foster promising startup in new industries, thus creating an ecosystem of startup and venture capital led by the private sectors. The innovation of existing manufacturing industries also accelerate in order to help create the advanced smart factory based on the 5G and AI. The development of a platform is underway, which supports the utilization of manufacturing data in smart factories. After the ASEAN and Korea Special Summit held in Busan last November, honest efforts have been made to promote cooperation in the field of startup and venture investment between Korea and ASEAN starting this year. In order to complete the ASEAN and startup policy roadmap, joint research on a business startup ecosystem began in June this year. The ASEAN Korea Startup Week in June and the hackathon in October also took place with various programs such as business model contest and IR sessions. The business matching program between large and mid-sized company and Startup connected the large company of Singapore with Korea startup and mid-sized Korean company with Vietnam startups. In addition to those programs to support the startup of Korea and ASEAN, the Korean government is also supporting investment in startup in Korea and ASEAN by investing in venture fund managed by venture capital in ASEAN, such as in Singapore. In particular, the ADB venture fund worth 60 million was raised in collaboration with the Asian Development Bank in June, or with Korea government also. With the ADB venture fund, we are supporting the growth of a startup in field of clean technology, fintech, agriculture, and healthcare also. We will make honest effort to consolidate bilateral cooperation on startup by conducting various programs also in 2021, such as the business matching program between large company and startup, accelerating program, and contest as well. I would like to ask for active participation from all ASEAN VC and startup partners. A new economy order will unfold after COVID-19, and the solidarity and cooperation among global startup and member of the venture ecosystem will become even more important. Take the development of a vaccine and treatment of COVID-19, and thanks for the collective effort made across the world, we are gradually getting at cruise to this pandemic. which export expected it would be year of get there. The Global VC Conference will serve as a venue for venture capital of Korea and ASEAN to exchange and cooperate. I hope the Global VC Conference will give us meaningful opportunity where venture capital of Korea and ASEAN can share the insight into the future, further and future after COVID-19, and turn the crisis into a very important opportunity. Thank you for all of you, and enjoy this conference and get a very meaningful insight as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cha. Of course, that was Mr. JungHoon CHA speaking to us live from Korea.